Tools of expression, because we're always involved, and especially clarinet players, it seems, love tools. They love to talk about the instrument and the barrel and the mouthpiece, the reed, the ligature, and everything else. And these are all tools. The instrument itself is merely a tool, the goal being to produce a musical phrase, ultimately, and to link that phrase into a grander scheme of a composition. So I call this tools of expression because it's not a physical tool that you can put in your case or take home with you. It's something that you have to develop within you. And it is a technique, and it's involved in a whole lot of other things. And each part of what goes into playing legato, I could easily spend an hour on by itself. But let me cover a few things very quickly. And the reason I picked this particular topic, again, is we're just dealing with concepts and getting really towards playing artistically and playing musically, rather than just getting to play. Because I think one of the more unfortunate things that's taken hold in our culture is this sort of culture of what I call instrumental manipulation, which people are teaching a lot about playing fast, getting around the instrument, and all these other things, but they're not talking about like the things that I consider essentially important, which is getting toward really expressing something musically and putting notes together in a meaningful way. And that's what legato helps us to do. Now, in terms of equipment, I'll just cover that briefly. If you want to have the best clarinet that money can buy, what I suggest you do is to drive to Philadelphia and have a session with Robert Marcellus and give your clarinet to him. And until he hands it back, you have the best clarinet money can buy. Really, it's all about who's playing on the instrument, much more than any other part of the equipment. Now, you have to have something that functions, and functions specifically for you, and that's something you have to figure out for yourself. I personally prefer to have an extremely light setup, a reed that's very flexible, and I find the advantage to that is when you play with a lot of dynamic range, which anyone who plays a lot professionally will have to have, when you play, especially when you play softly in the lower register, a softer reed will not climb sharp to the point where that you can't control it, whereas a harder setup is much harder to do that on. That's my preference. It gives you much more flexibility in terms of intonation. And as I've said many times, this instrument, no matter what brand or style or who modified it, doesn't play in tune just by itself. Only the player can play it in tune. Because if I play one pitch, and it may be right in the center on the tuner, that's not in tune, because depending on what note it is in any given chord, you may have to move that needle any number of ways. So flexibility is the key for that. So let's see if anything's working on this instrument today, and I'll see what we can talk about in terms of legato. Unconnected pitches. But you're actually getting a meaningful musical connection. Including across the register break. So a lot of it comes down to basic fundamentals of playing. And I've come up with an expression, or at least part of an expression, that deals with fundamentals, and that most problems that come with playing the clarinet come down to two issues. You have to know how to hold it, and you have to know how to blow it. It's really that simple. And fortunately, I'm not talking about articulation, or else it would get even more filthy than that. But the proper position of the hands on the instrument is an enormous aid to everything you need to do in terms of technical playing. And it's basically, it's well covered in books like the Daniel Bonat Clarinetist Compendium and Larry Guy's Bonat Workshop book. Those are both excellent books for this study, so I won't spend much time on it. But I will say if you're having issues with technique, the only quick way to improve your technique is to fix a faulty hand position. Other than that, it's all hard work. So once you get the proper feeling so that your hands can really get anywhere on the instrument without excessive wrist movement or arm movement, you're in really excellent shape. The second most important thing in playing legato is the air. And the main thing you have to remember as a wind player is that your body knows how to breathe. You don't have to learn. And the best thing, all the other best thing is that air is free. So you can take as much of it as you need at any given time. So what I would suggest is learning not to get in the way of your body getting air to itself. And the concept I use when taking air in is simply one as if I had just run a city block and stopped. And what happens when you do that is your body goes, you can't. And that's your body getting air to itself in the most efficient way it can. So you simply make sure your jaw is loose and you just allow yourself, and that's air. You're completely full of air. It didn't take any effort. But once you start using these muscles up here, it doesn't work. You have to allow your body to expand on its own. Don't expand your body to breathe. Breathe in order to expand your body. And then you can get air very, very quickly. And over time, this becomes absolutely automatic and very easy to do. And then what you do with the air is you support your sound all the time from the gut, from the diaphragm level, so that you have a constant, no matter whether you're playing pianissimo or fortissimo, whether you're at the fullest amount of air or you're empty of air, you're always have the same support coming from here. Again, it's like I could spend an hour on this, but I need to move quickly through there. And lastly, when you're talking about the embouchure itself, and again, we could spend so much time on that, make sure you don't chew or bite the reed when you're moving around the instrument into different registers or between notes. This just gets in the way. You want to support the embouchure by keeping the jaws open. My teacher used to say they should be open up to fit a pencil between your back molars. That would make sure you have enough openness for the jaws. So you don't want to be wide open, but you don't want to be clamped shut. That will just choke off the reed. So if you have a truly open set of jaws, then the reed is allowed to freely vibrate. As opposed to, you end up getting that quality when you squeeze too much. Okay. In terms of developing the finger technique required to play proper legato, I would say that the Bible, it starts with Behrman number 3. I mean, everyone knows this scale pattern. Is that the close A page? Does anyone use this? Okay. So here's why it's not adequate for proper technique. Listen to a few lines of it. Okay, etc., etc. So this is a Behrman scale. You're covering the entire range on every scale, at least once with a Behrman scale. And the close A scale leaves all these holes all over the clarinet, because at the most it ever goes is 2 octaves. Sometimes it doesn't even do that. So you need to be absolutely comfortable in every key on the instrument in the full extent of its range.